Sit back and relax while you listen to Train Kickers podcast. I'm Dave, and along with my co-hosts Dan and Steve, we're going to take you all around the world of miniature wargaming. On tonight's episode, we continue our discussion through the different legions for Horus Heresy. In particular, tonight we went through the 10th Legion, so the Iron Hands. Just as before, we're going to go over everything all about them, although we are not doing, in this particular recording, the Primarch or the Rites of War. We have started to do, and I'll be explaining this again shortly, is that we are going to start going through the Rites of War. We're going back through the ones we've done, as well as we're going to try our best to release either day of or the day after the Rites of War for the legions now going forward as we go through them. We had a problem in the beginning that some of the legions were extra long to actually discuss, so that was just unrealistic, especially if you look at Dark Angels. However, now we feel that we can do that, and we want to make sure that we do. And now, on to the show. All right, and on tonight's episode, we are going to continue our deep dives into different legions for Horus Heresy. In particular, tonight, we're on to the 10th Legion, so we've now hit our halfway point. We're going to talk about Iron Hands. Just as before, we're going to be saving our Primarchs as well as our Rites of War for later, although we are going to be starting to release Rites of War with episodes. We're just going to do it as a separate release. We didn't have them incorporated before just due to time, the amount of time for recording these episodes. When you guys get them, they're edited down, but for us, they've been usually about 3 hours minimum. So we do want to start putting that there, but we're probably gonna have as a separate piece on the YouTube. There'll be a nice link connected on this. If you're on the podcast, we'll make sure on a podcast, we'll make sure it's there as well, so you guys can see that. But we are gonna start doing that. So getting into these guys, I think Dan volunteered himself as tribute to talk about the fluff for these guys, the actual idea.
Yeah, fluff. All right, so the Iron Hands, very interesting legion.
You say that for all
of course, the Primarch Ferrus Manus. One of the very few legions that I can officially say that their Primarch is dead. Spoilers. Well, he's not really dead. There is rumors that Fulgrim keeps his head around and clones it and tries to make it forgive him, and then when it doesn't,
as of 30K, he's dead,
yeah.
and that's rare.
No, he is dead.
That they're actually dead in that time frame.
He's dead. He's absolutely dead. But the Legion itself is a very interesting Legion. Almost reminds me a little bit of the Iron Warriors, where they're very stubborn insofar as their battle tactics. They have and this is kind of their, the whole entire fault to a T. They're very stubborn, which helps them on the battlefield, but it also is very kind of detrimental because they kind of look at people who are weak, or people who fall back, or people who, so anyone who kind of like the whole entire weakness of the flesh kind of nonsense is very much like them. It got even worse when Ferrus Manus died, of course, but they're very much, and the reason they're called Iron Hands, by the way, is because is it their left hand? Hold on, I have to I have to turn around, it's their left hand.
Remember, the left hand makes the L.
Yeah. Well, no, it's more of like I have to remember the pictures, because the pictures, they're facing you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's not the right hand, they're turned around, it's the left hand. Their left hand is usually replaced with a bionic copy. And they're very much into kind of replacing their fleshy bits with bionic bits. Very Mechanicum-like. It's probably why I like these guys a lot more than I should. Very Mechanicum-like. I should point out also, very much like the Salamanders, who we haven't talked about yet, or the Raven Guard, which we haven't talked about yet, these guys are some of the survivors of the Istavan 5 massacre, which also, again, did not help their theories on being weak. They thought that they got basically destroyed because they were weak, and they didn't that was also when their I believe that's when their Primarch died.
Yes.
Was it Istavan 5 or Istavan 3? Yeah, it was Istavan 5.
It was 5.
Yeah, it was 5. Yeah.
So, if I remember correctly, Ferrus Manus was in charge of that operation, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, so he was in charge of the drop site, basically the Retribution fleet. So the idea was Iron Hands, the Raven Guard, and the Salamanders would land first. They would charge in, do some shock tactics, knock out traitor defenses, and the second wave would come in, relieve the first wave, and finish off the assault.
Yep.
Ferrus Manus, being bullheaded as he is, decides he doesn't want to fall back for the second wave, and he keeps charging deeper and deeper into enemy territory to the point that his legion is struggling to keep up with him. And he ends up dueling against his former best friend, Mr. Fulgrim, and well,
he gets beheaded.
Yeah. He
And
loses his head both figuratively and literally.
Yeah, the Iron Hands were already very mechanically inclined insofar as they felt like they should emulate their Primarch. And by the way, I should point out the Primarch, from reading the Horus Heresy, didn't actually enjoy this, by the way. He didn't like the fact that the Iron Hands were so bullheaded and were replacing their body parts. He kind of thought this would be a cultish kind of idea. Shocking in the 41st millennium and the 40K. But after their Primarch died, they absolutely saw themselves as weak, and how dare they couldn't protect their Primarchs, and that's when they really started kind of to bionically enhance themselves. But the big thing with the Iron Hands is they're very stubborn, and they're very they're harder to kill than most, mostly because you're either probably hitting some sort of bionic part or some sort of reinforced part. They're very good friends with the Salamanders, I should point out. So them in the because the Salamanders are also big into master crafting and crafting their own weapons and crafting their own armor. They're very well known for crafting like their artificial armor. So them and the Iron Hands actually get along very well. But anyway, that's kind of the Iron Hand lore.
Yeah,
essentially.
They get along very well with the mechanical. It mentions in the main book, because I read that a little earlier. It even says there, like, essentially they got a lot of mechanicum stuff first, or they got stuff from the mechanicum that other people didn't get, that have really good working relationship with them. And I think that's what led to a lot of the advancements and sort of that, replace the flesh ideas that we see them have.
I should point out that Ferrus Manus did have the reason they cut off their left hand and replaced it. Ferrus Manus's left hand was actually bionically made.
Yes.
I think, what's the rumor that it was Necrontyr tech on his hand?
So what happened? Okay, so when he first wakes up on Medusa, he's like, "Oh, there's a giant silvery worm thing running around. I'm gonna go hunt it down and kill it." It's a Necron Satan shard. He kills it, and it fuses to his arms, and they're literally made out of living metal.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's legit awesome.
Thing. I think it's both arms, right? I don't think it's one arm. I think it's both.
It is both. Yeah.
Oh, it is both. Oh, apologies. I thought it was only one.
He is Ferrus Manus. He is the Iron Man with iron arms of an Iron Hand Legion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they didn't do subtle.
From the ship the Hand of Iron. Just changed up a little bit.
Oh, GW.
All right.
I love your naming.
We are on to their trait, the Medusa Scales. Does anyone in particular want to take that?
This is a cool one. This is a cool one.
You've already talked, so you don't get it, Dan. How about that?
So,
they're all cool.
The Medusa Scales. Basically, this represents the Iron Hands, the massive technical expertise, their extreme durability and stuff. So what happens is all string attacks made against a model with special rule that's not a vehicle takes a -1 strength to the attack. So, for example, if you shoot a strength 4 bolter at a non-vehicle Iron Hand, well, now it's a strength 3 bolter. Models with a special rule that are vehicles instead gain It Will Not Die 6 up, or if it already has a variant of It Will Not Die, it is improved by +1. So basically what that means is if your vehicle is missing hull points at the end of your own turns, you roll a die, and on a 6, you get the hull point back.
Yep.
And finally, oh no, that's all.
Yeah, that's it for them.
I was rereading the It Will Not Die sections. Yeah, that's their thing. But the spill out effects of that is huge.
Yeah.
So, for example, Meltaguns no longer cause instant death against your basic Marines. It's not -1 to wound, it's -1 to the strength. So strength 8 becomes strength 7. 7's not double 4. It's still wounding on 2s, but now it's not instantly killing you. So that makes like your veteran type units really durable. And strength, like I said earlier, bolters going down to strength 3 means they're wounding you on 5. Which is rough.
Or in some cases, if you're talking about, say, going to contemptors, when we get into talking about basic rights of war, one of the nastiest ones, where you can bring a lot of contemptors or other dreadnoughts, essentially. Now it means your bolter guys can't even attempt to hurt them. Not that there's like great odds, but
Yep.
at least you had way to fire, maybe could do something. Now you can't even try.
Yep.
I've played against Iron Hands.
Now,
go ahead.
Do note, this is only shooting attacks.
Yes.
So in close combat, you're absolutely getting your ass kicked, as per normal.
Yeah.
But for shooting, you are so resilient.
Yeah. I've went against them a few times
Flesh is weak.
now, and it makes, I mean, okay, when you go from a 4 to a 5, okay, it's 16%, but you know, and don't get me wrong, that is a very sizable difference. But the feeling of it alone does so much more than necessarily the loss of the wounding will do. Because when you're firing with, say, attack squad, 3s and 4s are what you said normally need. Okay, now you're 3s and 5s. The feeling alone of that makes you feel like you're trudging uphill. You know, that it's, you have to get the combat. And if you don't have a lot of combat units, it makes you feel like you're going to greatly struggle. I especially ran into things when it was my Volkite weapons, because Volkites, usually their big bonus, other than Deflagrate, which is nice, is that your strength's always a little bit better. So I'm always wounding easier. But when you start pulling it down, and now it starts taking maybe 4s for small Volkite, or maybe 3s and all, when you're just getting less through, yeah, you're getting about 16% less. But when you're getting that much less through, and you're trying to shoot them down, it definitely makes it feel like you are behind the 8 ball huge.
Yeah.
Yup.
I, for
you
the
never
moment,
realize how much you miss a 4
Mhm.
as when you need a 5 and all your dice show 4s.
Yeah.
That's a good, that's, yeah.
For the moment, at least, and this is with experience I've had in, I don't know, a dozen games or so, with various legions all across and all. For the moment, for me, I think this is the strongest trait.
Hmm.
Just base in terms of, some can be better in certain scenarios, but if we have to sit and say, well, okay, I have this scenario and here's the way that's going to work. As soon as you have to say that, I could always come up with that sort of argument. And some arguments are a little bit easier than others, but we could always make an argument why, in a particular case, this sort of thing is good. Dark Angel, oh, okay, well, I have a lot of different abilities. Iron Hands, you know, Iron Warrior, something like that. Okay, well, hey, I get the +1 on certain things. Here's all this cool stuff I can do. Theirs is just across the board, always useful. You know, you're always going to get some use out of it. It's nice and simple to use. The part on the vehicles is nice because I know there's some ways they can improve that, of course. But even you just think about everything that's not a vehicle, I think it is, you know, somewhat across the board one of the more useful ones, because there's going to be shooting. People are going to shoot you. But
No, it's good. It's, yeah.
it is very good, I think. At least for the
Very good.
moment, and if you combine it with, you know, Fury of the Ancients, which we will get to in the future, they honestly
Yes.
become almost downright oppressive. If you're not aware of it, you don't
This
plan
is,
for it.
no,
If
not
your game
downright,
plan
but
is
it-
shooting,
yeah.
yeah. If your game plan is close combat, you could almost ignore it.
True.
Like world leaders are going to look at Iron Hands and laugh because their specialty is close combat. And instead of, you know, it's like, oh no, I wounded on 5s to shoot. Yeah, now I'm wounding on 3s in close combat with a reroll because they have chain axes, you know?
Yes.
So you're probably feeling the pain because I feel like your lists tend towards shooting.
I think the
Most
game
likely.
in general. No, I will gear a reasonable amount of stuff to close combat, but I think the game itself lends itself to a reasonable amount of shooting.
Okay.
Well, to figure out this way, early in the game,
Reactions, yeah.
reactions, or also early in the game, what can you do? You can shoot. You know, if you're doing a drop pod assault, there's some potential assaults on turn 1, or if your opponent rushes up. But you know, a lot of times in these sort of games, they feel shooting games early and potentially close combat games later. You're diminishing really what someone can do in an early game. Yeah,
No, I
there's certain
agree.
legions, if they don't have, you know, if they have, yeah, I said, yeah, a bunch of guys, assault marines or something like that, it's not a big issue. But I would say that's more of the outlier, at least from my perspective of what people see, especially when we think about what got most people into the game currently is the starter box. And in the starter box, you're shooting. So it may change, but for the moment, from what I've seen, the games I've played and the games I've observed, I would say theirs is the strongest. It might change when people start having a lot more variety and options.
No, I agree. No, I 1,000% agree on that. I 1,000% agree.
All right. Well, we will move on to their reaction. I guess maybe I'll take the reaction. Why not? So, their special reaction is called the Gorgon Spite. Standard rules if you gotta be Iron Hands to use it once per game, all that kind of stuff. It may be used once per battle during the opposing player's assault phase when an enemy declares a charge targeting a friendly unit under the active player's control that's entirely composed of Iron Hands models. Once the active player has resolved all charge rules for the charge that triggers this reaction, whether successful or not. So this is the standard you have for reactions in the assault phase. But before any models have moved either part of a charge move or a surge move, this reacting player may make a shooting attack with the unit that has declared a charge against it, targeting a unit that has triggered this reaction, with all the weapons making twice the normal number of attacks, but gaining the Gets Hot special rule. It does note beneath that says it does not stack with any other rules that increase the number of attacks it may make, such as Fury of the Legion. So it doubles those attacks. The other ones don't get doubled. So you don't put Fury in and then double that amount. You're doubling the base amount for the weapon. A unit that makes shooting attacks as part of a Gorgon Spite reaction may not make any attacks indirectly as normal. Ones that don't require line of sight and all that. And models with the vehicle unit subtype can only fire defensive weapons. That's the normal per the reaction of when someone charges you. Template weapons are normal, Wall of Death. And the unit targeted cannot take cover saves against wounds inflicted as part of this. So what you're allowed to shoot, the ways in which you're allowed to shoot, is very much like the normal Overwatch. You're getting twice the base number of attacks on your weapon, but it does get hot, and they cannot take cover saves against you. Those are the real differences. So, correct me if I'm wrong. So, if it's a rapid fire weapon, rapid fire is you just get +1, right? That's the way rapid fire is worded.
No, rapid fire is you double the amount of wait, unless they changed it, but
Well,
rapid fire
that's
used to be you
why I
get double
said
the.
it.
Well, no, because it's you double the amount of shots. So like
Is
rapid
that
fire
what rapid
2
fire
would be.
says? Does rapid fire say double?
All right, then give me 1 second.
Yeah, that it's a careful distinction because that depends on whether or not you're actually
Absolutely.
doubling this.
Gotta find rapid fire. It's not in my cheat. No, that can't be right. It has to be in my cheat sheet, right?
Get a better cheat sheet if it's not.
He says.
You have a cheat sheet. You made a cheat sheet. Shouldn't it be there?
Really? Huh? No.
It just says they make 2 attacks at half range.
Okay, so rapid fire says you just make 2 attacks at half range.
Yup.
Okay.
So 2 become 4 because the normal is to make 2 attacks.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to check just to be sure on, because if it says you get essentially like sort of a +1 in this game, you multiply before you add, which is the standard way you do things. But no, you do get the 4, and then you would still have Fury of the Legion. You just don't get to put it in first and double, I would assume. So it doesn't stack.
It does not stack. Right.
So stacking
you get
to me
one or
would
the
mean
other,
you add Fury of
right?
the Legion, then double. Not stacking to me means, okay, you double, then you add the 1 for Fury of the Legion.
I don't know. Like the only other reference I have with this sort of rule is the Iron Warriors one, which is a return fire instead of an Overwatch essentially, and that does just flat out double it. So I don't know because this says the exception. Iron Warriors doesn't.
Yeah, because it says twice the number of their normal attacks.
Yeah,
To me,
twice the-
when you say saying it doesn't stack,
Oh wait, it says it right there. Where models make this reaction have such rules, they have no effect, and instead you get the effects of this reaction. So you wouldn't get 5 for doubling +1. You just get 4, just a flat double.
where did you read the line that says it doesn't worry about that? Because I see the
It's
stacking
the
part.
asterisk.
But,
It's the last line of the asterisk.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I didn't read that line yet. When a model makes this reaction, special rules, no effects are replaced. Okay. Okay, yeah, you're right. So where it says they have it, just negate it. Okay, I'm glad they said that because stack to me could be read either way. It's the second line that clarifies that. I missed that second line. Thank you. Yeah, so you get 4. Gets hot, but you get 4. So Dan only ever talks about giant, massive squads. So let's say it was 20 guys, because that's all he cares about. That is 80 bolter rounds coming in. You're going to take some pain on that. Not that that would be the unit I'd fire with necessarily. But it does mean you have to be very careful of what you decide to assault if they have a very good gun. Because doubling the base
I was gonna
attack
say
is
even
going
the
to wreck you.
support squad, even the support squad's fucking scary at that
The
point.
support squads, in my mind, are the right spot.
Yeah.
So
Like, oh no, he's got flamers. Who cares? And then all of a sudden you blat out with 2d3 a person.
although you have a gets hot on that, so if you roll 1s, you're not firing the weapon. I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's a gets
So
hot,
if
so you
you-
have to, on
Yeah,
a
you're right.
what you would call
You're right.
template. I mean, essentially, if you did it with a squad of 20 bolter guys, you're expecting about 4 of them to die from your own shots. It could be more, and honestly, I would never do it with 20 bolter guys, not because of the number of shots, because I'd have to roll 4 dice at a time, because I'd have to know who actually gets hot, and I don't want to do that to myself. That's terrible.
Alternatively, you do it in 4 batches of 20, and you separate the dice that roll 1s into a new pool of guys that have gotten hot for the next batch, and you repeat that process.
That's not bad either. That's honestly probably a faster way. You can do that. Yeah, do 20 at a time. Any that gets 1s, you can assign them to people. Now they're a separate group. They'll roll their own shots afterwards. Roll fast.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a much faster. Yeah, if you're going to do this on a squad with a lot of shots, you got to figure out a nice, fast way. I think support squads are where this is nastiest. Because support squads a lot of times have those heavier, heavier weapons or more damaging weapons. And you usually don't get tons of
40
shots.
plasma gun shots? 40 plasma gun shots. Like, go ahead. Try to charge me. I dare you.
I mean, even if you had a squad of 5 of them, you're still potentially doing a whole lot of good. Even if you're not maxing out all your squads, you're still doing a lot.
That's insane. Yeah, no, that's good. It's a good reaction. And it reminds me of the Iron Warrior one, because I believe the Iron Warrior one is get hot as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
if it already gets hot in Iron Warriors, it gets hot in Water 2. Here, that doesn't happen.
No.
Oh, you are correct.
Oh wait, no, sorry. The Iron Warriors one is the Warlord trait that bumps it up another tier.
Yes, yeah, their Warlord trait makes it even worse for them.
It's the Warlord trait that makes it worse, not the reaction. Never mind, I got that mixed up. But yeah, no, this is not bad. Like it's one of those like you will appreciate this. No. You appreciate having this rule.
Okay, no, Steve, you were correct. I pulled up the Iron Warriors. I have it in front of me.
I was.
For weapons that already possess the gets hot special rule, trigger that special rule on a 1 or 2 during the shooting attack instead of a 1. So no, it actually does get even hotter for them.
So Iron Hands keep a cooler head.
They keep a cooler head by getting hotter?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, compared to Iron Warriors.
Was this the same stupid joke you made about being Meteor? Being Meteor?
Maybe.
Yeah, wait, what? I can't say that stupid word. Am I saying it right?
Which word?
Being a Meteor Legion?
Yeah, Meteor, like having more meat. They have less meat.
That's a fine word.
Iron Hands is one of the lighter legions rules wise.
I mean,
not as much meat to get into.
Their advanced reaction pairs perfectly with what their trait is, because like you said, maybe I have an army that I'm not really shooting you because I'm rushing you. All right, well my trait is once per game. Depending on what you want to charge, you're going to get severely punished for having done so. So if you don't have a lot of pure dedicated assault, if you have, say, 1 or 2 good units, you got to be really careful about what you aim them at, because whatever fires back at you, it could really, really hurt you. All right, so far, they are really, really good. Let's move on to some Warlord traits. Does anyone have a particular Warlord trait they want to do?
These are all great.
Okay.
I'll go to the first one because it's cool.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of a From Hell's Heart. This is just a really cool. I remember that quote.
Talk about it.
Loyalist only, first of all. So, they do have a traitor one. I just wanted to scroll down and see if they had a traitor one. So, From Hell's Heart. Striking from Hell's Heart. The Warlord with this trait and all models in the unit he gains the Fear 1 special rule. And should the Warlord be reduced to 0 wounds, the controlling player may choose to inflict D6 automatic hits upon the unit whose attacks cause the final wound. With these hits allocated as per the standard rules, each hit is resolved either using the profile either of one of the Warlord's range weapons if he lost his last wound to a shooting attack, or using the profile of one of the Warlord's last melee weapons if he lost his last wound as part of the assault. With all hits resolved using the same profile, if the wound is lost neither in shooting attack, there's no effect, and so it has to be shooting or melee.
Yeah.
And you get another reaction in the assault phase. So if your Warlord dies, kind of TLDR this, if your Warlord, he gets Fear 1, and so does the unit. If he dies, he automatically inflicts D6 shots if he dies in the shooting phase, or D6 hits with his weapon in close combat. Okay. Here's a question.
Okay, I know what your question is, and I figured it out as you're reading it.
Okay.
Because it is using the standard allocation for rules.
Yeah.
You have to be in range and line of sight.
No, that's not what I was going to ask.
Oh, I thought you were asking if there was a range component.
A challenge, and let's say they both kill each other. Do those D6 automatic hits go into the already dead challenger?
Yes, and they count towards morale.
Yeah. Okay, so they don't go into the squad.
No.
Right, because this would have to be the standard allocation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, spillover happens the other way. You can spill into a challenge if there's no one else for you to hurt, but challenges never spill out.
I was just wondering when this happened, because, let's say, okay, he dies. So does your dude.
But remember, challenges go until the end of the assault phase.
Yeah. Oh, end of the assault? Then never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if you die, you're still in a challenge.
Okay, so you can add D6 to combat resolution, essentially.
Yeah.
All right, no, that's good. No, it's a good rule. I like it. Fear 1 is great, as always. Was watching a recent Mechanicum video where someone took Scoria, and Scoria has, I think, Fear 2.
Of course they do.
It's either Fear 2 or Fear 3, and that was absolute insanity.
Fear is a fantastic rule.
That is insanity, and it was Fear 2. So Fear 1 is absolutely a good rule. Especially because, so it's if the unit gets it,
you can measure from any point on the unit.
Here's a big blob of -1 leadership. Oh God. And yeah, the D6 automatic hits. And they're automatic hits, so you don't have to roll. That's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind giving this guy like a melta, like a little multi-melta or something, just in case, or not a multi-melta, sorry.
By melta?
Yeah, combi melta, just in case, because D6 combi melta hits. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's bad.
I'm going to reserve judgment until we read.
Give him a Nemesis Bolter.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dave's going to reserve, but I will point out, Dave, your always main criticism is that you only, your main criticism of the Warlord traits, I've noticed, is you have to Warlord traits when they give you something when you die.
This one gives you things before. It gives you Fear 1, which is fine, and it gives you in the assault phase, which is arguably for them the one that they need the most. Because they're shortcoming if they have one.
Because it's defensive.
Exactly. Yep. People assaulting them. This helps you on that. I want to see the other traits, though, before I say this one's good. Because honestly, my problem... Okay, you have to die to get the cool thing. I'm not too concerned with that because you get some other stuff. Some of the other ones you don't really get much. And they give you in the correct phase for the reaction, which is nice. What I'm always iffy about is when it's a random roll. It's D6. And you roll a 1. Okay, this Warlord trait didn't do much for me in that aspect. I would have preferred if it was a nice flat number, even if it was, say, 3. Because now I have an idea of what's going to happen. Your idea there, you said, I want to give him this gun that's going to do really well if I die in the shooting phase, and then you roll 1. You know, exactly. You're going to remember the games you roll the 6, and you do tons of good. But if you roll the 1, you're essentially probably getting almost nothing out of it, that part of it. But the other ones might be better, so I do want to see those first.
This next one is really fun. So this is the Eye of Vigilance, and it's traitor only. Fluff-wise, this is Iron Hands that serve beside Horus directly. Kind of get a little honorific called the Eye of Vigilance. It's, Horus's seal, the Sons of Horus logo. And when Ferris Manus dies, they go, he's kind of a chump if he died to Ferris Manus. He's not a worthy leader. Hey Horus, how you doing over there? So it's just right then, you've won me over. But digging into rules, the Warlord and all models in a unit he joins, gains preferred enemy loyalists. And once per battle, if you are the reactive player, you can make a single reaction without using once per battle. A single reaction without using a point from the reaction allotment.
Keep reading this last line.
That's weak.
The last line is why it's good.
This can allow Warlord to make his unit make more than one reaction in the same phase, but not the same one twice. It's good, but it's once per game.
Yeah. The second line is the reason why
it's gonna be great in that one turn. It's gonna be great for that one turn. I don't live and die by reactions. I've played a handful of games now. I don't live and die by reactions, but I definitely appreciate having that second one in a phase. Getting a second one once per game is rough, and it has to be the Warlord's unit too. So, I don't know.
Is there currently in the game, outside of Warlord traits, let's say, for you to gain extra reactions? Base reactions, not the special intercept and any of that kind of stuff. Just normal base reactions. I haven't seen any. Not that I'm aware of. Maybe there's something that I've missed, but I can't think of anything.
Nothing's jumping to
mind.
It's a very unique rule,
yes.
But it's just so narrow in application.
Although I don't know. Yeah,
you could deny them half that Warlord trait just by not attacking that unit.
Yeah.
It's the once. Although again, preferred enemy loyalist is.
Oh, that's nice. That is absolutely nice.
So I know you were talking about fear, how that's a really good rule. I think the top 3 rules of the game are preferred enemy, fear, and stubborn. I always
force.
I always tip top, or I always switch first places with fear and preferred enemy. I don't know which one I like more. But preferred enemy, for those who don't know, preferred enemy is reroll 1s on the hit and the wound for anything that is in the brackets. Of course, this also means that you have to make sure that the other person, you play with the rules of, oh, you're my enemy, then I think you're a traitor, and even though you're playing loyalist, you say, oh, well, then I get this rule and everything. We've had this discussion so many times already.
Yes. If you're playing this, just let
so
the other
I'm
player
assuming that's the assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm assuming that's the assumption.
Otherwise, it's garbage. If it's not, they lessen
using that
the reaction for this one because they put such a weight on preferred enemy.
Yes, which is fine because preferred enemy is a very powerful rule. The ability to reroll 1s on the hits and the wounds on pretty much anything is insanely powerful. Take it from someone in 40K who rerolls 1s all the time with his Custodes. It is an excellent, excellent rule. Scary so.
Yeah. Not entirely sold on the world shape. Let's see the last one, then we'll figure out which ones are actually good here, because I'm not entirely sure yet. But let's take a look at Silver Iron Will. A Warlord's trait and all models in the unit that he has joined are never affected by any special rule or effect that lowers a characteristic. And that includes Fear and Radfade special rules, and due to losing an assault where the enemy has inflicted more wounds. So the only thing that lowers is your actual wounds. Nothing else lowers. In addition, an army with this trait may not make reactions in the movement phase, but gets an additional reaction in either of your opponent's shooting or assault phases, but not both. So you get 1 extra reaction in either of those phases. If the warlord is moved as a casualty, then this additional reaction is lost, but the army may make reactions in the movement phase as normal in any appropriate phases after the warlord has been moved. So you can't reduce their characteristics other than wounds in any way, and they cannot react in the movement phase, but an extra reaction in shooting or close combat or assault phase, one or the other. And when he dies, luckily they told you what happens then, that essentially you go back to normal. This is the one that have played against me. This one, honestly, it's, for at least for what I've seen, of the 3, it's the one I like the most.
Agreed.
You talk about fear being so big, he doesn't care about fear. Losing combat, you don't even you don't minus on that, so you can lose combat, but you're still on base leadership.
Yup.
Yeah, this to me,
this is a win.
Yeah.
It also gives you a lot of flexibility because you get an extra shooting or assault phase reaction. Like, oh, this turn I don't need a shooting reaction, but I need that assault reaction. So this is a huge win in my book.
Absolutely. It's, I mean, it sounds bad to say, but I absolutely think it's true. I think it's heads and shoulders above either the Loyalist or the Traitor one.
Hell's Heart is fun.
Yes.
The Traitor one, lore-wise, is cool. But this is the best.
Yes. Yeah, Hell's Heart is a
Definitely.
lot of fun. You hit me, my guy's got, a thunder hammer. You happen to kill me. Or maybe he's not in the challenge because I want to make sure I can kill more guys. I get D6. Let's say I roll a good number. I'm just crushing a bunch of guys. Like, that's fun. But this is always going to be good. I've had it played against me, and there's multiple times where I'm like, oh, I have this rule. Oh, yeah, you don't care about that. Oh, no, you don't care about that. As someone whose army has some fear stuff, when you can essentially remove what potential my rules can do to you is huge. And they said that the ability to put it in either phase you want, because let's face it, you're Iron Hands. Your goal is probably going to be shooting them. So if I get shot too much in the shooting phase, I can shoot back. Or if I know they're setting up multiple charges, I can shoot. So no, I think hands down it's the best, which is fine. All right, unless anyone else has any other big thoughts, hearing nothing, then we are on to the Armory. Does anyone have a particular part of this they want to talk about?
I guess take the Iron Father.
Go for it. That's the first one, then take it.
That's real easy. Yeah. So essentially, you can take any of your Praetors, not Centurions, but Praetors, and upgrade them to be an Iron Father. It's like the Iron Warriors who could upgrade a Praetor of any of the three types to be a Warsmith. Except the Iron Father one is way more expensive at 65 points.
Also the sexiest looking model.
But you get Battlesmith 3 up, Feel No Pain 5 up, a Machinator array, which, for those who aren't in the know, gives you a plasma pistol and a flamer.
No, it's a meltagun.
Oh, it's a meltagun. Oh my god!
I got this. Mechanicum time. It's a meltagun, flamer. It's battlesmith. It adds +2 to your battlesmith roll. Battlesmith is you repair a lost wound or vehicle hull point on a 5 up, but it adds +2 to that, so it's on a 3 up. And in close combat, that fucker is 2 attacks. At strength 6, it's 2 addition, like it's separated from the rest of your attacks, by the way. So you attack with it. It's unwieldy, so it's initiative 1, strength 6, AP 2, shred, and unwieldy.
Pretty nice.
Are you sure it's strength 6? Are you sure it's not your model at strength 6? I thought it was essentially a double.
No, it's
strength. It's strength +2. It's not the same.
Got it. Strength +2. Yeah, I was saying no. It's not. It's not a 6. It wasn't a 6 for that reason.
Sorry, it's a strength +2. So
for the Praetor, it's probably going to be a 6. But yeah, it is distinction.
Now, if you want to know why that's so many points, Feel No Pain is nice. Battlesmith 3 up. Technically, you have a 1 up to Battlesmith because the Machinator adds 2 to the 3 up. They'll probably FAQ that to say no, it's 3 up with mods. But I think it's a 1 up right now. But the Cyber Familiar, that is a +1 to invulnerable saves.
Yes, it is.
How do you like a 3 up invulnerable on your Warlord?
And that Cyber Familiar is normally a 20-point upgrade for other types. We'll talk about shortly, but it's Infantry Tribune characters in there, and with the Legion Starters rule can take the Cyber Familiar for 20 points. So it's essentially a 45-point upgrade really for this thing.
No, I put it right now because the Mechanicum book already came out. I automatically save 15 points per character for Cyber Familiar. Automatically. 3 up invulnerable is yes, please. Always.
Yeah. Iron Father, big cost, but it's a big win.
Yes. And again, he looks cool. Like, this is not me being...
So there's a model on Forge World for this guy. It is a Cataphractic Terminator with a single servo arm. So these rules would actually match the model. Funny enough. Because he almost has the Tech Marine from 40k backpack, except instead of the plasma pistol.
Excuse me, that's not a servo
arm. It's a
arm.
Melta.
That's not a servo arm. That's a Machinator array, sir.
I said the model is a servo arm.
Yeah.
The rules is a Machinator array. I'm saying the models and the rules don't match.
Now I gotta pull this.
Oh my god, Dan! You don't know what this model looks like? It's only the one of the most.
I thought it had the little Melton thing. Hold on.
No. Really?
I actually owned it, by the way. I want to point out.
It's a single servo arm on the back.
Oh, that is weird. Huh.
So I don't know what happened here because they have a very big no model, no rules thing going on right now.
I
So I
wonder
don't
if
know
it
what's up
originally
with
was a
that.
servo arm. I wonder if
It
it was
was a
originally
servo. Last edition, it absolutely was a servo arm.
They just changed it. That's all.
Interessante. By the way, for those who want to know what a macronator array looks like, if you go to Mechanicum and you go to HQs and you look at base, I was going to say, look at Scoria. No, don't look at Scoria because Scoria is absolutely. Oh, they removed it. Oh, that's right. They don't sell the snail magnets anymore.
Your line got purged. Your
Yeah,
best
the
reference is
snail
if you go
guy.
to the 40k Chaos Space Marines line and pull up the Warpsmith. He has a Machinator array.
The
It's the
snail
actual correct war gear. Because that has a melt-a-gun, a flamer, and a bunch of tentacles.
Sorry, but I thought the snail
the
guy.
Loyalist war gear is wrong because the Loyalist 40k model has a plasma pistol, not a melta for the array.
Neat.
So yeah, I don't know what you're supposed to do model wise out of the box. You got to convert these guys, but it's sick.
Yeah,
it is a very cool model. Like I remember buying it, and I was very impressed with the damn thing.
All right. Hey, Dan, do you want to take the next one? Do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll take. What is the Gorgons are next? No.
Blessed Auto Simulacra.
Oh, that's right. Get stupid. Yep. Blessed Auto. I like scrolled down, and I'm like, what? So, oh yeah, I remember this rule. So, Blessed Auto Simulacra. Any model with the vehicle unit. Simulacra? That's weird. Yeah. Any model with the vehicle unit type and Legion Astartes Iron Hand special rule may be upgraded to have the It Will Not Die 6-up special rule. This will increase to 5-up because they're Iron Hands as for 10 points. So basically, for 10 points, your vehicles can get a whole point back on a 5-up. I mean, it's cool. I will point out that most vehicles let me rephrase that. I think every vehicle in this edition had gained a whole point or more.
No.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this.
Not at all. No? Not at all. No. The heavier stuff got more heavy, but Rhinos are still 3. Yeah. And Predators are still 3. Yeah. Vindicators went to 4. Land Raiders went to 5. Spartans went to 6.
Okay.
But, not everything went up.
Okay. But still, 10 points. Gain a whole point back on a 5?
It's worth it on the big tanks.
Yeah.
Now, it might be useless because you might get one shot. But you also might win the lottery, I think this is 10 points. It's a steal because it doubles your chance of regrowing wounds. Well, hull points. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
If you have Land Raiders, you are taking this. If you have Super Heavy, you're taking this. If you have a Land Raider Achilles, you take this and you laugh like an evil maniac because those guys are so hard to shift. This is great. This leaves the Cyber Familiar.
Yeah, which we discussed when we talked through Ironfire. It's just you essentially infantry unit subtype, character unit subtype, and they have to be Iron Hands. They get the Cyber Familiar for that 20 points, so that +1 invul save.
Huh. Yep. Weirdly, Mechanicum gets it for 15.
And it grants a 6-up if you don't have one, or do they get rid of that?
No, they get it for 15 points, and it makes them that's weird.
Dan in no way was listening to your question, Steve.
Oh yeah, no, not in the slightest. Not in the slightest.
My brain.
I don't even pretend that I get respected.
He's still not listening to it because he's still talking about other shit.
Sorry, what's your question?
His question was, does it make it a 6-up if you don't have one? And I believe the answer is yes, but I'm going to try and look for it as well. I'm still not great at finding all the different rules in the book because of all the different spots where they put them. It is still
it's gonna be a war gear item, so it's gonna be
6-up, but they don't have one.
Okay, cool. And does it still let you re-roll a failed characteristic test?
Yes, that's what I was looking at.
Or psychic test, or failed danger test.
Perfect. Okay, so it is the same.
Wait, psychic test
in addition, they allow them to re-roll failed characteristics. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Other than leadership, psychic, or failed danger train. So you can re-roll other things, just not those.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense, yeah.
I also find it so weird that they consider dangerous terrain to be a characteristic check. Because it said that last edition too, but I don't know why. But yeah, no, it's nice. It makes you resilient against Graviton Crusher rules. Yay.
I mean, listen, 3-up invulnerable. That puts you on a very big 1-up.
Oh no, the 3-up invul's very nice.
Yeah.
the theme of Iron Hands is more Terminators, please.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Wait till we get to the Gorgons.
And speaking of more Terminators, please, we got the Gorgons. So, Gorgon Terminator armor is a custom Terminator armor type that the Iron Hands were developing towards the end of the Crusade, and Ferrus Manus, with a massive contingent of Gorgon Terminators, it stormed into the Emperor's Children line. It is an upgrade option available to Cataphracti Praetors and Cataphracti Centurions. They trade out their Cataphracti armor for Gorgon Terminator armor. And then there's a Gorgon Terminator squad that just has this armor natively. It gives a 2-up armor save, a 5-up vulnerable save, and a Feel No Pain 5-up. So it's it's lighter on the invul, but Feel No Pain to save you from those ones you occasionally roll. It does not stack with other Feel No Pains, though. If a model has more than one variant of the special rule, you have to choose which one you use. So that's different from the Apothecary and Heart of the Legion. So it does not stack if you have, say, a Primus Medicae in there, from what I understand. And at the end of any phase that you pass an armor or invulnerable save, you roll a die. On a 4-up, enemy units within 6 inches have to make a blind check, which is an initiative test.
Mm-hmm.
And if they fail that test, they become weapon skill and ballistic skill 1, which is hilarious. And a unit that's all Gorgons are immune to that particular effect in this circumstance. So it's a nice little piece of work here.
Now it says, can you be called to make more than one blind test, or you pass one, you're good?
Nope, it's
okay,
end of the phase.
Okay, got
End
it.
of the phase, yes.
Yeah, just blind in general to end of phase. So you can't do Gorgon Terminators trigger and somehow like a conversion
good.
beamer.
Good.
That said, conversion beamer gives you options in your own turn, and this gives you options in your opponent's turn. So pretty nice.
Yeah,
I think this got better from last edition because it used to be invuls only. I think. It's a neat little board gear option. It's free, so you give up invul, gain Feel No Pain. I like it. I like it a lot.
But remember, you get a Feel No Pain. And remember, they lower stuff by 1 strength. So those Meltaguns, missile launchers, missile launchers, Meltaguns. What else is strength 8?
There's some shells of autocannons and stuff like that. It's one of the big guns.
But all of that now, all of a sudden, you get a Feel No Pain.
Yeah, it's nice.
That really makes you durable.
Honestly, that's the only reason it's any good. If you didn't lower it by 1, I wouldn't say it would necessarily be bad, but a 5-up, what you really want that against is, you're trading 1 on the invul for a potential extra 5-up. It doesn't help you if you were still getting doubled out, which is where you want your invul. So a double 5-up is better than 4-up. So you are definitely more survivable in that way. Because again, little plinking fire, it'll save you a bit, but I'm more concerned about the things that meant I didn't get a save, or I got my invul save and now I get an extra. Yeah, like the
this is really good.
Yeah, some of the big guns are like that, like Predator Cannon strength 8, stuff like that. Kratos HE or AP shells are strength 8.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Oh my god. And that's the thing. It's paired with that Legion trait is a really nice combination.
Yeah. No, it's a perfect pairing. All right, I think I'm going to take Graviton Shredders because I can. So, any model with the infantry unit type and the Legion start is Iron Hand special rule may be upgraded. I upgraded Graviton Gun for Graviton Shredder, cost of 5 points each, and any model that also has the character unit subtype may exchange a Plasma Pistol for a Graviton Pistol at no additional cost. They're Graviton for all rules. So Graviton Shredder and the pistol, they're both range 12, they're both AP 4. The Shredder is Assault 2. It's Concussive 1 with Graviton Pulse and Haywire. The pistol is 1 shot, Concussive 1, Graviton Pulse and Haywire. I had these used against me to great effect against my Leviathan because it was Mortat. I'm not saying there isn't reasons to take other forms of Mortat, but if you are taking one in your Iron Hands, he can absolutely swap out to Graviton Pistols, which means you can get 12 pistol shots. which just wrecks
Beautiful.
vehicles because of haywire, or things that things like contemptors and leviathans and all of those. It was exceedingly nasty.
For those who
Oh my
don't
god, that's
know
so
Yes.
Haywire
beautiful.
against Dreadnought, people on a you don't roll to wound. On a roll of 1, nothing happens. On a 2 to 5, you wound the Dreadnought, but I believe it still gets
It's no
its.
armor
It
save.
gets no armor, only
But it gets an
invulnerable.
invulnerable. No, it gets an
That's
invulnerable
exactly what we
against when
said.
you roll a
No
2 to
armor.
5. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. Okay. And then on 6, I believe it just
6
cuts
is no
through.
saves allowed.
Yup.
Yeah, no. Ugh.
And I believe
My
it's no
only-
mitigation. Am I correct on that as well?
That one I don't know.
On the
On the 6
6
is no mitigation. So okay.
I will point out that the only point of contention I have with this, the only point of contention is that with the new Mechanicum book, we have a very similar
Okay.
weapon, except we're not Assault 2, we're Blast, and it annoys the living shit out of me because I do not want to roll for 12 goddamn
Simple,
Blast
don't take the weapon, then.
templates. It's modeled.
Okay,
It's
don't take the
WYSIWYG.
unit. There you go.
It comes
Solved
with it,
the problem.
sadly. What? Nope. Still got it. Already painted. No, but that's the only point of contention. I'm like, God damn it. They have the same weapon, but it's Assault 2 and not Blast 1. I'm like, God damn. No, but this weapon is really good. Concussive.
Well, they're trading the Blast 1 for Assault 2 at a shorter range.
Yes.
No, it's still 12 inches.
This-
I think
No,
the other
it's
one is-
18. A Graviton gun is 18. The standard
okay.
Graviton gun is an
Yes.
18-inch range, and they're
Okay,
trading out for
okay.
5 points extra. But this
Okay,
will
that's not bad.
absolutely wreck Dreadnought. So if you have someone in your area that thinks they're all cool running Fury of the Ancients, humble them. Humble them.
Now give me.
I'm going to take a quick moment to bring up a Rite of War for the Iron Hands, because this directly interfaces with that Rite of War. They have one called the Head of the Gorgon, and a infantry model with a flamer can trade it out for a Graviton gun or a Graviton Shredder for 15 points a model. That's really good.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
support.
really good. You only get one. Like there's other stuff around that Rite of War that restricts you, but that is good.
You know,
Normally, it's a very limited pool of units that get access to Graviton weapons. It's going to be, because this is an infantry-only thing, it's going to literally be veteran squads, breachers, and destroyers normally. That's the list.
Stupid question.
The Rite of War opens it up for support.
I will point out it's also
this is
concussive, which
amazing.
nice.
We didn't hear what you said, Dan. Could you talk?
People
Concussive
forgot.
is cute. Like that one time a year you get it. Concussive's cute.
I mean, what is it? Concussive 1 or concussive,
Concussive
2?
1.
Hold on.
1. It's a 1.
Oh, I mean, listen, reduce weapon skill by 1.
They have to fail a leadership test first, Dan. It's not
Very
happening.
true, but remember, your Warlord is Fear 1.
No,
It's a
he's
nice
not
little
gonna be Fear
wombo
1.
combo, right?
Dreadnoughts are fearless. They don't care about Fear 1.
No, I'm not talking about Dreadnoughts. I'm saying if you want to shoot this at a normal, like it has
I
application.
only care
beyond-
about killing Dreadnoughts.
Yeah, it's
Okay? Nothing else in life matters. Everything else you can figure out once you're at the table. Dreadnoughts you have to figure out ahead of time. Iron Hands are how you keep them honest.
I was gonna say there are other applications, but okay, because concussive you could shoot this at a normal squad, concuss them with Fear -1.
Nah. You're thinking about this the
Yeah,
entirely wrong way, Dan.
that's not the use of
You,
it.
you
No.
point at Dreadnought, you cackle, and you make them pick up their model.
But if someone doesn't have a Dreadnought and someone has like World Leaders, you know,
No. They're
There's
gonna
a
have a
Dreadnought
they're
in the
gonna have a
box.
Dreadnought.
That's the other thing about it. You know, remember the average person in this game now. What you're going to see mostly is people who are new. People are new, bought the box. Therefore, they have Dreadnought and they have a Spartan.
that's right. You're gonna look at them.
That's the kind of stuff you should expect to see.
Yep.
And this laughs at
Yes.
Spartans too, because Haywire don't give a shit.
Yeah, Haywire does not.
Um,
Specifically, I think super heavy vehicles are not. Hold on.
I think they have a protection. That's about it.
Hold on. It's unit types. There we are. I guess it's unit type super heavy. He says? Question
I
mark.
don't know why it wouldn't be.
Cybernetica.
Yeah, Super Heavies is a unit type. It's on page 215 of the main book.
Man, I'm trying to.
It's if they would suffer and explodes, they take D3 additional.
So So you could still haywire a Beyblade
I'm
if you
looking
wanted
now.
to.
I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to.
I don't know about the new Knight rules of Mechanicum. That one I can't tell you because I don't
Yeah,
have the book in front of me, sadly. W. Thanks.
that's a great way to get them to send us stuff in the future. Is to disparage them.
Yeah.
Keep giving me more stuff I have to cut out.
Um, let me see here. Yeah, no, I can't see anything. So yeah, you could just murk a Baneblade if you wanted to. Oh God. And I don't see anything. Don't have the Mechanicum stuff in front of me, but I don't think Knights have protection against haywire either.
Armigers do.
Yes.
Armigers do. Okay, so then maybe they do. Okay.
Because armigers aren't vehicles or
Yes.
dreadnoughts.
Oh well.
They're
Okay. But Knights.
armigers
Okay.
because they're a fake
Yeah.
unit type.
They're a fake unit type. All right.
No, I'm not seeing super heavy protection
No, I'm
against
not.
haywire. So, yeah, cackle.
Oh Jesus.
Just crush them.
Pretty much.
Iron Hands
Literally.
are better at killing vehicles than Iron Warriors. They just have to get really close to do it.
Literally crush them because it's a graviton weapon.
No,
It's not even metaphorical. It's
when you get
literal.
to a big enough game where you have enough stuff, I said Mortat with 2 graviton pistols is going to help you in a unit of someone else because they have bitter duty, so you want to put him in a unit so he doesn't get killed. But him in a unit, he can go hunt down whatever the big problematic item in the other army is. And as long as he can get close enough, you're probably going to be able to deal with it.
I think Cybernetica is affected by haywire too. Let me see something real quick.
Yes, they are.
Automata
unit types
Automatas are.
Automata, not Cybernetica. Got it. Okay. I was looking at Cybernetica. That's
Cybernetic
why.
is a subtype.
Got it. Okay.
But Graviton's great. This is an amazing option. It pairs with their One Rite of War beautifully. If you play Iron Hands, you're going to do this with at least one unit.
You really should.
And then their last war gear item, the Armatis Necrotechnica.
What the hell is this?
One model that's a vehicle. That's not a flyer. Can be upgraded to take this for 50 points. Whenever a unit with at least one model within 6 inches, friendly or enemy models, by the way, you lose a model within 6. Sorry, anyone loses a model within 6 inches. You roll a die for each casualty. If you roll a 6, you regain a hull point. This was a what were they called? They're like psychic relic things. I'm blanking on the term. But it was like some fancy thing they added at the end of last edition. That's basically like a vehicle that feeds on the souls of the dying.
It also is a -1 leadership for any 6-1 within 6 inches.
Yep.
Unless you're stubborn.
Yeah.
No. Read the last line again.
No. Stubborn does not ignore it.
This is yes.
Special may not.
Oh,
May
yeah.
not
No,
ignore.
they're affected by this.
The shadow is literally on the. Huh.
This is if you want edgy as fuck Iron Hands, you take this. The only thing that's a shame is that you can't put this on Dreadnoughts anymore. So you can't have a Dreadnought punching people and then regrowing wounds as a result.
No, that's for World Eaters, sir. That's World Eaters.
This is cool. It's expensive. I don't know if I would default to this, but it's cool. It's a neat thing if you wanted to do weird stuff.
Put it on your Mastodon. Right at the center of the board. Everyone's dying next to the Mastodon.
To me, this is an upgrade where if you're going to do it, you're putting on your super heavy. If it's not a super heavy, I wouldn't. Because the idea of getting your whole points back is nice. You need a 6. But on everything else, you're probably, not guaranteed, but you're probably going to die before you're going to get much back. Where your super heavy at least has a lot more hull points and it has protections from getting blown up. So on there, and you don't feel bad about throwing an extra 50 points necessarily on them. Not on something smaller.
One thing to watch out for, though, with 50 points, it might bump the vehicle up because that 50 points accounts for 200 points of battle size.
It does matter.
So you have to keep an eye on that.
You are correct.
Because remember, to translate what I said to normal language, 25% cap. That 50 points basically means 200 points of army has to counterbalance it. Yeah. It's cool though. It's really cool. Yeah. And Those are
They
war gears.
have more war gear than they do units. So we will get into the first unit. Steve, you said did you want to do the Gorgon Terminators?
Oh, I was gonna take these guys.
Oh, too bad.
Oof. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take the Gorgons. So Gorgon
boo.
Terminators have they have a Terminator stat line. Move. They're slower. Move 6. So they got 4s and 4s and 4s and 4s and 2s and 4s and 2s and 8s.
One better
and
leadership.
2s. Oh, so
Mhm.
they get a leadership bump. They get a leadership bump. They all get Gorgon armor. Surprise, surprise. They have combi bolters and power axes by default. The unit leader instead gets a thunder hammer by default. And the unit leader does default get a grenade harness, which is kind of nice. So that's 20 points in upgrades built in compared to a Cataphracti squad.
200 points too, yeah.
So this is 5 points extra for the armor swap, essentially. 5 points extra for the leadership bump. That's not bad. You're restricted in war gear with the axe, like as your defined thing, but it's not terrible. You can take up to 5 extra guys, going up to a 10-man squad potentially for 35 points a guy. You can take a Vexilla because that's the thing Terminators do now, and you're probably going to want to do it so you don't run backwards faster than you could ever run forwards because you are heavy. Anyone can swap out the power axe for a power fist, chain fist, or lightning claw. You can change out your combi bolters for combi weapons or lightning claw. So you could, if you really wanted to, go power axe lightning claw, which is silly and stupid, or power fist lightning claw. So you have versatility in how you do it. You get extra power fist attack, but you lose a lightning claw attack compared to going double claws. Yeah, it's an option. It's there. And for every 3, instead of every 5, is it for every 3 models in the unit, 1 can swap out for the heavy weapon. That would be heavy flamers, Reaper autocannons, plasma blasters, and graviton guns, which for an extra 5 points, as covered earlier, would be a graviton shredder. Because these guys are relentless, they don't mind that the graviton gun base weapon is heavy, but it's blast versus 2 shots. Pick and choose which of those you like better. I'd probably go with shredders though for the extra 5 points, just get the dice rolling. And then the unit leader can just, take a combat weapon. They're fun. They're tough with that feeling of pain 5 up. It's pretty straightforward. They could take a Proteus carrier. They could take a Spartan.
So you compared them to Cataphracti, and I don't think that's necessarily the right comparison because it works for the Praetor because they essentially say what you're replacing. But these guys are a lot closer in terms of base stats to the Tartaros because you have a 5-up invul essentially, but you get that feel no pain. So your normal squad of 5 Tartarus are 150. These guys are 50 points more than that. They all get feel no pain. They get stubborn instead of exhortable, which is a nice upgrade. And they have 20 points worth of weapon upgrades essentially, having the thunder hammer and the grenade harness. So essentially that's a 170 compared to this. So 30 points, just about 5 points a guy to get your feel no pain, get your leadership bump and all.
And then lose a movement.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Okay.
heavy.
So you lose a movement.
And
Yeah.
the-
Right. So I guess it's somewhere in between.
So it is a Cataphracti armor swap. Yeah, it's literally in between the two. Fun fact about Gorgon Terminator armor, lore wise, only Iron Hands had it because you had to extensively cybernetically modify the people wearing it, and they actually got built into the armor.
Oh wow.
So they're almost automata because they're built into the suits. Yeah. And they're like super, super radioactive. Like it's just only an Iron Hand could pull those things off. They look a lot like the 40k suits. So I feel that if you
They
were
look like Indominus,
willing
actually.
to put in the work, you could convert them. I would not just drop Indominus on the table and say, "Oh yeah, these are my Gorgons." Like you got to put work in to be like, "Hey, look, it's a special Terminator. They're modified to be special."
It's the
But yeah.
cataphracti rule that doesn't let you sweep, right? Not heavy.
It's a cat.
So these
Correct.
guys
It's a
can sweep. So
cataphracti rule, and
they're
we
a
Yes.
don't
little bit
have
in
that.
between. They're
Yes. Honestly, what they are is they're Indominus Terminators without
Yeah.
power
Look, it's-
fists.
I,
With
I
feel
go out
no
of the book
pain.
stuff. I don't look at all that other stuff.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
Indominus Terminators.
it's
They don't feel no pain and blind. That's exactly what they are.
they're legitimately their
Yeah.
own thing, and they're cool. They do their thing. They do it well.
I do like their power axes a lot. Like that's a really, really cool power axe.
And
in my
remember,
opinion.
your unit leader could go to a 4-up invul because he could take the cyber familiar for 10 points.
That is true.
So you're gonna do that. I mean, that's a given.
I like their power axes though. They're very chunky.
So if we're looking at just the book for the second, because yes, we know they put things in terms of legends units and all, but let's just talk about book ones. You are an Iron Hands player. You have 3 Terminator unit choices. Is there a reason why? Let's assume you're not trying to shave off like 5 points or something like that. Is there a reason why you don't choose these guys? Why you would choose either of the other two?
So cataphracti sergeants can hit that amazing 3-up invulnerable
True.
save. So that's an option. Tartaros can run, and they get the extra pip of movement, and they're a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
I would go with I would just
So
go
would
with
I.
Gorgon.
So what's
personally.
funny is like, okay, I would do a mixture. I would probably ignore the Tartaros with them because the Gorgon is pretty much your Tartaros defense. And then I'd throw in like a unit of Cataphracti for some deep strike or put him in a Spartan just because of that 3-up invulnerable.
On one guy.
You know what I mean? On one, well, no, I know. That's what I'm saying. Just on that one guy. No, I would mix them. I would probably ignore Tartaros and I would go Cataphracti and Gorgons.
So let's say if you were taking one, you're taking one unit. That's all you can fit. Let's assume you got like 500 points. So like you can
Gorgons.
manage either.
Gorgons because you have the gravitons.
Yeah, I would say Gorgons because you have access to Graviton, you have access to the Feel No Pain, and as that really quick side note, you do have access to Blind. Like when Blind goes off, I know like it's one
It's
of those.
hilarious when it happens.
It's hilariously awful for your opponent. Like
If
it's bad.
if they have a Praetor or Centurion in their unit, it's only happening if they roll a 6.
Yes.
If they have a Cyber Failure, you can re-roll it. It's great when it happens. Don't ever count on it happening
No,
to your
but
opponent.
but
Expect it to happen to yourself because that's just how it always
well, of
works out.
Okay, so if you're taking one, you're taking Gorgons.
But I was going on.
Let's say you're
Gorgons.
taking 2.
Yeah, I'd
Absolutely.
go
You're
with
taking
Gorgon.
2. You got points for 2 units, let's say. And let's assume again, there could always be the argument made that okay, these guys are a little bit more, so you have to finagle. But let's say you're willing to finagle 25 or 50 points to kind of make it work. And again, with some upgrades, it's not that different in
2
terms.
Gorgon Terminator squads. If you're willing to invest in them, do 2 6-man
Okay.
squads of Gorgons, each with 2 Gravitons. Because it's 1 and 3 for the Gravitons. So you have
That's
3 and a 10-man, or 2 and a 6.
Do you disagree, Dan?
See, I would say Gorgon and Cataphracti. As someone who has played with a 3-up invulnerable before, especially with my Mechanicum, because funny enough, Custodians don't have access to a lot of 3-up invulnerable. We had a lot of 4-up and 5-up, but really only our special characters had 3-up. But in Mechanicum, almost all the Magoses had 3-up. Sure, they were special characters, independent, but it was a normal dumbass Magos had a 3-up invulnerable. It's really stupid powerful. Because all it would do is give him a Cyber Familiar and a Power Fist for 25 points. And that is a scary dude. Just him alone is scary. So from seeing the power of what a 3-up invulnerable can do, I would say get like a 6-man unit of Gorgon. Because I do like the fact that it's 1 and 3. So I'd say 6-man unit of Gorgon. And then probably like a 5-man unit of Cataphracti.
If I have saying points aren't an issue, and if we're comparing those two, the points are actually very, very close for like a unit of 5. Because again, these guys have a couple upgrades, and if you wanted to do those upgrades, they're now essentially within 5 points of one another. Maybe you didn't want to. If you want options, of a wider variety of options, to some extent, maybe the Cataphracti are a little bit more for that. Although the options are reasonably similar when you break it down. If I was going with 2, if I'm running these guys, no, I'm most likely to take both of them as Gorgon. Again, because I'm making you -1 strength. in shooting at least, so I'll get my 5-up, feel no pain there. The 3-up invul is nice on that one guy, but that one guy probably in a challenge, and either one of two things going to happen. Either he doesn't need the better invul because of the weapon I have, or he needs it, but the weapon I'm swinging at you, then most likely you fail one of them, you're probably dead. So like a 3-up's nice, but a 3-up when any fail is just going to kill you. I'm not so sure. I think I would actually like the 2 squads of Gorgon.
Yeah, use it in shooting as well. I would use it in shooting as well. That's why I'm saying like 3-up invul when I used to play Custodes. Tank a las cannon shot, in my opinion.
Which
you'll still die.
No, you wouldn't do it with the last cannon.
1 or 2.
Oh, I know, but it's still.
I would not suffer the temptation against the last cannon.
Oh, see, I've done it before. So
At a melting gun, you feel no pain.
You take those big chances, and you remember the times it worked out. What you'll forget is all the times when it failed, and it was the very first shot and killed the guy. I faced a guy who had he had a not one of these. He had his Praetor and stuff like that. He was on his 3-up invul. It was like 2 saves had to roll. One of them failed, instant death. Like I wouldn't make that my determining factor. No, if I took 2, I'd probably take 2 Gorgons. If I was like big points ballin', and 3, then I might look at a Cataphracti. But also, they're your cool special unit. Take your cool special units. These guys, they are good.
But they do look good. The power axes are great. I think that's what a power that, my friend, is a power axe.
I would give at least one guy in the squad double lightning claws, because it's only 10 points extra, and it gives you some models that fight
you need
at
something.
initiative. Remember, your weakness is close combat. If you're only fighting initiative 1, if your enemy has power fists, you're going to get crushed, because half your rules are not going to be useful anymore, and you have the worst invul. With lightning claws, you might at least take a couple guys out at initiative. So I would take out 1, maybe 2, probably 1 guy, give him double lightning claw.
Yeah,
just
give him a chance to cut down some people who are going to really make you pay for it later. All right, we are on to the Medusan Immortals squad. So these boys are 205 points. There's let's see, across the board, standard Marine stat line until we get to attacks. They're base 2 attacks, 3 for the sergeant. Leadership 10 all around, and they're 3-up save. And the Immortal squads, these are the ones who essentially failed at some point, right? Like they were dishonorable, so this is their way to get their honor back. They're given this chance. They're essentially like what are those naked dwarves?
They give up their personal identity. They take on the identity of an immortal, right?
Yeah, they're like slayers. They're armored slayers. You've done something wrong. Here's your chance. You're supposed to go die in battle. It's a squad of 10 guys. They have their power armor. They have boarding shields, so they're similar to breachers in that aspect. They have a bolter, bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades. They're heavy. Their big thing is they have feel no pain 5-up, bitter duty, and they are stubborn. Do normal breachers have bitter duty?
Stubborn leadership.
Yes. They do not. Okay, that's what I couldn't remember. I was trying to flip to the page. Here it is, breachers.
That's tasty, which means you could embed more.
And I think that's where the Mortat probably wants to go, because this is a good squad to help him survive, and it's
tasty. Don't mind me, just painting all my models black with silver trim.
So if they have no more than 10, they can take a Proteus. That is their only dedicated option. So they dedicated wise can't take a Rhino. And
they lose the drill that breachers
That is true. Although, don't get me wrong, the drill is very good and it's really cool. But I don't know if a lot of people, the people who are probably listening to us, this is my assumption. And if I'm wrong, please say so in the comments on YouTube. My assumption is most of the people who are listening to us are probably somewhat new to the game. And I don't think they have fancy Forge World breacher drills. Although it is cool.
Oh, I don't either. It's okay. I have some third-party solutions, and they are a ton of fun. But it's just sad that they only have the Land Raider as an option.
Absolutely, it is. 10 more, 18 points a guy. They can swap out their bolters for Volkite charges for 2 points, or just go straight to chainsword, just get all ready for close combat. If they have bolters, they can put the standard stuff on.
Do note with the chainsword option. Wait,
What
how
do you
does
mean?
this work?
How
This
does it not
doesn't
work?
work. The boarding shields prohibit you from getting a
Yes.
bonus attack in close combat, and from using two-handed weapons. So you have the options for bayonets and chain bayonets, but no way to actually use them.
So I'm going to help you out here.
No. You cannot use
I'm gonna
two-handed
help you out with this.
weapons
So
with a boarding
this
shield.
was a mistype from the playtest rules when the playtest rules were leaked, and everyone was laughing, being like, "Oh, I guess someone made a mistake because they cannot be used." Everyone thought so. Everyone thought it was a misprint, whatever. The book comes out, everyone starts laughing because those options are still in. It is 1,000% a misprint. Ignore the fact that they can take that because it's
a shame,
two-handed.
because I would love to give regular
You're right.
creatures chain bayonets. That just makes them
You can literally
meaty.
cannot ignore
But
that
you can.
option. It's literally impossible. It was probably a misprint.
Yeah.
that
I mean, no,
was ready
you
to
could
sell.
do it. You just can't use the weapon.
Yeah, you can't use the
If
weapon.
you take a look, what I think it is, these guys, if you compare them to breachers, 1 in every 5 can exchange a bolter for something, same exact thing. The sergeant, his choices, same exact choices. The fact that he can take artificer or melt bombs, same. So I think they just
Same.
copied the breacher, remove certain spots, because there's certain things a breacher can do, like the sergeant can take a plasma pistol. He doesn't have the option here. But otherwise, they kept that part in.
They're also missing the
other spots.
augury scanner, the Vexilla, and the
No,
Untitled
agreed.
box. They're
But
missing
I
those
think that part
options.
they removed easily. I think for some of these spots,
Interesting.
they copied, probably the veterans, and they copied the veterans into breachers. Okay, hey, we removed the options we know they don't have. Then they copied it down here to Immortals, and they forgot to remove that part there in the middle.
Yeah. No, it was like I said, someone put it. I remember very specifically. This was very when the playtest rules got leaked, people were dying of laughter because it was like, wait, how the hell does this work? It's literally impossible. And everyone was like, oh, it must be a misprint. And we thought it would just get removed in the main book. It didn't. So it's 99.9% a
Well, put it this way,
misprint.
even
'Cause
if
you
it's
can't
not
use
a
the weapon.
misprint, it doesn't
It's
matter. You
literally
can't do it.
impossible.
It doesn't do you any good, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can't do it.
I hope they FAQ it and make it work perfectly fine, because that makes them even more unique and makes them an interesting
That would
foil to the Phalanx Warders.
that would
Because I remember when the Dark Angels Terminators came out, they gave them weapons that got Overwatch bonuses, but they were in Cataphracti last edition, so they couldn't Overwatch. And they went, oops. They're special. They're so well trained that they could overcome the equipment shortages and the Overwatch. I could feel it in my body. They're going to do that again here.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool then. You know what? I was gonna say
I think it'd be really cool if they did that,
overpowered, but
because the idea of a breacher with a chain bayonet just makes sense, like logically speaking.
how the fuck
'cause
do you swing that?
You don't swing it. You make a wall of shields and a bunch of pokey bits that are spitting
Yeah.
saw blades.
Keep in mind that this was a real thing. They have shields together, guns over the top, and firing as something hits, and if something gets close enough, okay, now they're getting sawed up. So they are, as sort of like breachers with some bonuses, and I do think they're very good. They're 50 points more than a base breacher unit. They don't have the charges. They have a lot of similarities otherwise, but they have the feel no pain, which is great. That does you a lot.
It's a built-in apothecary without the downsides of an apothecary.
Yes.
It's a built-in apothecary. So you're paying 5 points extra to not be sniped.
And sitting on a nice leadership 10 with stubborn. So I'm always on 10s. I'm mostly going to pass. And like I said, bitter duty is a great spot to be able to put your Mortat. You are more limited with what can go in there, but for the unit or unit, because it is a unit. For the units that can, this gives them a good home, and this gives them a home that is in your own legion. That has honestly a lot of really good, especially there if you put a Mortat in there, because here these guys now also with feel no pain, so they're able to survive a lot better. To be able to get him, so he doesn't have to be trying to take it on his 2-up saves or anything like that, because he'll be an artificer armor. But I think these guys are very good. If you can take them, so if you have them, I think you absolutely do. I think they will do you. The only difference is the main biggest difference is that they don't have line base. I know one of their things.
Oh, the Right of War, not the one that
Yeah,
unlocks
the
the
other one
graviton,
doesn't make it lined though.
for support squads.
They
Yeah,
can take them as troops.
it does. Troops and the troops ones become line,
Yeah, exactly. So
even beyond the compulsories, all of them. So you could have 6 squads of these with line if that's just
Yeah.
6 troops choices.
no,
I
I
don't know if
wouldn't.
I would, because remember, your Warlord does not have bitter duty, so he can't join them. Need somewhere else for him to chill. But they are cool. They're hella cool. They're expensive.
And
but
this is
cool.
another spot where, again, since these guys, your general makes -1 strength, you're gonna, even if you're not getting your armor save, you're getting your feel no pain against most things. So you at least have some sort of save there, and you can save your reaction for shooting someone
If
back
it's
with a different unit.
Yeah, and if it's a blast weapon, you're getting 3 saves against it. You're getting a rerollable armor,
Yep.
and then the feel no pain.
You know, they're very good. If you thought about creatures in any way, absolutely take these guys, and then your one right of war. If you want to take that, is going to make them line as well, so you don't even necessarily have that other downside. The downside is points. That's about it. Right. So, these guys kind of got the short end of the stick because that ends their book units. They currently do not have an exemplar unit in the documents GW's put out or anywhere else, but they do have some legacy units. They have 2 HQs. Which one do you want, Dan? Because you didn't talk about either unit, so we want to make sure you get at least one of these HQs. Well, you didn't get that
wanted
though.
the Gorgons, you jerks. I'll take what is it? Autek Mor or Shadrak?
Okay.
Let's take Audrek.
He's the
sounds
next one up
cool.
then, so you're on to him.
Yes. So Iron, pardon me, Iron Father Autek Mor, 225 points, movement 6, weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 5, strength and toughness 4, 4 wounds. It's chunky. Initiative 5, 4 attacks, leadership 10, 2 up save. He is armed with a Volkite charger.
Argonikos. Yeah.
Argonikos? Okay. Argonikos? Argonikos?
Might be Argonikos. Actually, yeah, Argonikos sounds nice, so let's go with
Aside
Argonikos.
familiar,
It's Greek.
Yeah, let's go with that.
I think it's Argonikos, yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Argonikos, and a Armis Panoptikos.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
so
these
it's like
dudes are
very
Greek. And a cyber familiar.
It's the Gorgons.
Gorgon, duh. Jesus Christ.
Medusa is the planet.
Yeah, exactly.
Gorgons,
Okay, I was just like in my brain.
Immortals. I mean, the Immortals were the Persians, but still, like it's Greek story stuff. Greek story time.
So, let's see here. He's relentless. He's fearless. Huh. I don't think we've gotten a character that's fearless yet. Bulky 2, a Master of the Legion, Battlesmith 3 up. Oh my god, please tell me he has like a Machinator race so it becomes a 1-up save.
We already passed the war gear, so no.
He does have an
okay.
He does have
because it would be listed there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, oh my god, that'd be a 1-up to repair. Okay. Tyrant's Wrath and Loyalist. All right, so let's look at the Warlord trait, Tyrant's Wrath. Any unit made up of models with the Legion Astartes Iron Hand special rule that a Warlord with this trait is joined may add +1 to the amount of wounds caused when calculating was won in close combat. At the end of the combat, after pilot or consolidation moves are made, a unit that has added this bonus suffers a single wound with no armor saves or damage mitigation rolls allowed. Wait, what? In addition, make additional reaction in the shooting phase. Wait, what? Hold on.
So you count as scoring an extra wound, but you suffer a wound.
Yeah.
After everything is done.
You may add.
Yes.
So you may add +1 to the amount of wounds in combat, but when it's all said and done, you're going to take a wound for having done it. You may take an invul only against that wound.
Okay, let me keep going. I have thoughts on that, but I'm going to keep going. The Armis Panoptikos. So this confers Autek Mor a 2-up save, a 4-up invulnerable save. And he's got a cyber familiar, so it's a 3-up. Yeah, so he's got a 2-up armor save, a 3-up invulnerable save. Feel no pain, 5-up. It doesn't stack. Additionally, it also has a manipulator array to make 2 additional attacks in the assault phase at strength 6, AP. It's a fucking Machinator array. Strength 6, AP2, melee, unwieldy, shred, armor bane. Oh, that's what it adds. Okay. Oh, by the way, the Machinator is also, I believe, armor bane. And precision strikes 3-up.
Yep.
Ooh. Ooh,
So
that's
you don't get the extra little guns, but
right.
you get to
Yeah.
pick out people on a 3-up.
Ugh. On a 6 and 2. It's
Also
only-
note that he has a cyber familiar.
yeah, no,
which
I mentioned that he's got 3 up
stacks
and
with the
normal.
4-up. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
that 3-up is tasty.
Yeah, 2-up, 3-up with 4 wounds. Ugh. And a feel no pain? This guy's he's a chunky monkey.
And because it's not explicitly cataphractii armor,
Yes.
he can sweep.
Yeah, this is all right. Let's see his weapon. I'm gonna call it Argonicos because that's how it rolls off my tongue.
Aragonikos.
I did. It's GW. God knows we've talked about this. Their ability to fake Latin is
This isn't even fake
phenomenal.
Latin.
So
This is fake
Argonicos.
Greek,
Greek.
which is even better.
Greek. I'm sorry. This is not even Latin. This is straight Greek. Now I want to.
I'm not gonna. No, I'm
Dave,
not,
Google this while I talk about it.
okay.
What the fuck is Argonicos?
Do you know what I have in front of me?
I'm curious. I'm curious
So
if it's
in
an
front of
actual
me-
word.
Stop.
Because
So
now I
when
want
we're doing this, I have books open.
Oh.
I have notes. I'm keeping track of everything. The last thing I'm going to sit and do is Google for you. Make it up. It doesn't matter. You're not. You're
I will-
no.
I
You're
will
not.
do
Just
it real
read through the
quick.
thing.
It's going to
You're
annoy
not going
me.
to find
All
a
right,
real
so
way to
Argonicos.
pronounce a made-up
It
word.
is a range. I don't know if it's made up. That's why I don't know if it's like a sword or something. It's range nothing, strength +2, AP2, melee 2-handed, reaping blow 2. Oh my god! Wait, it's not unwieldy either. This guy's good.
So he's
220
not instant deathing anyone. He's dishing out
No.
a lot of strength 6 attacks.
So let's say in a perfect world, he's got probably got a 40 mil base because he's an Iron Father. He's going to base 2 people. He's going to get 6. By the way, real quick before I continue this, can you precision strike out of a challenge or no?
No, if you're in a challenge, you're only in there with them.
Okay. So you get 6 if you charge. Let's say, let's not include the charge. 6 strength 6 AP2 attacks at initiative 5, right? And then an additional 2 attacks at strength 6 AP2 that are shred and whatever precision strike. You're in a challenge, doesn't matter. And he's got a 2-up, 3-up, 5-up with feel no pain. That's
Don't say not bad.
he's
Okay.
no, he's
That's
good. I'm not even gonna
that's your
say not bad.
catchphrase is not
He's
bad.
a chunky. That's my catchphrase, but he's good. Like I like this dude a lot,
He's a strong
Um,
HQ choice.
and he's Battlesmith already 3-up. I bet you $5 he's Battlesmith 3-up because the Panopticos, the manipulator array, instead of just putting that it gives +2, they just gave it the +2. Which makes sense in my mind. Because it
Yes, it
literally is a Machinator array, with the exception of it has precision strikes.
You're missing the special weapon.
Oh, and there's
Yes.
special weapons, of course, yes. Wow, this guy's cool. This guy's real. I wonder if someone has ever made like a. Well, no,
Yes.
is
Of course they have. He's their guy.
yeah.
Everyone's built him, Dan.
No, hold on.
Everyone has built him.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, people have done good jobs. Okay. Actually, you know what's funny? Like, though 80% of the models are just the Iron Father, which, fine. Which, okay,
I mean,
not even mad.
It says it right there. Iron Father.
Exactly. Oh, look at this one. Hold on, he's.
You know, literally
How do
no
I-
one else can
how do I
see
do
it
this?
though.
I know, but I want to show you guys so that way,
That's
like,
all right. So while you're
uh,
doing that,
'cause
we
that
can
way
talk
you
about
guys-
it for a moment.
yeah.
He is exceedingly survivable, and he can dish out damage because like I said, his weapon is not not unwieldy. He's not going at initiative 1, which means he is actually also good in a challenge. Sometimes when your weapons put you at initiative 1 and you're not someone with like Eternal Warrior and all, it can get very dicey. But you have a 3-up invul. You do have your feel no pain. Assuming it's something that wouldn't double you out. But if they do have a weapon that could double you out, you have an AP2 weapon with, 4 attacks, 5 if you got to charge, more for Reaping Blow. Although if you're in if you're in a challenge, that's not really affecting you there. But if it's a weapon that you wouldn't be getting your feel no pain against, there's a very, very good chance you're going before them because you're getting to go at your initiative. The only thing I'm not huge on this guy for is his Warlord trait. I'd rather take him and just have someone else be my Warlord because I really love, especially their Silver Warlord
Yeah,
trait. But
I
other than
agree.
that, I would still take this guy. Without the Warlord trait, he's still amazing. He's still worth it.
Yeah. And I was just that to go back on what I said about the Warlord trait. I saw the Warlord trait. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna be honest, that Warlord trait kind of sucks. There's no like mincing the words. It kind of blows. But this guy just kind of rules. With like, just take him and take another
It
Warlord. Actually, is Iron Father? Is
I
he?
mean,
Hold on.
hell, make that random Mor attack your Warlord that's hiding the giant
Yeah,
Immortal squad.
the Warlord trait
nah, he's
isn't.
cool. He's cool, and he's 225, which is not bad. How much was Horus Swain and stuff like that? The like the really choppy Dark Angels
He's
guys.
around
They
that
were
same cost.
220, 225, right?
Also, Dan, I know your phone isn't
Yeah.
muted.
No, he's
You're on a podcast. You do things like
actually,
muting your
yeah.
phone. I know it's not muted.
No, it's not. It's also the. I'm surprised you
It
don't pick
might
up
be
the
on the
computer
computer then, but I'm
as
picking it
well.
up. I can absolutely hear it.
It is. It's that's what it is. It's the computer.
Simple.
It's
Close
the
out that
computer
window.
going off.
Boom,
I
solved the
can't
problem.
stop.
Yes.
Or mute the computer.
Yeah.
It's Discord.
Then silence the rest
Discord
of it.
making that
All right.
noise.
I don't think that was on Discord. Course Wayne's 200. So this guy's 25 points more.
Is Corswain the one with the 3 up invulnerable?
I'm on him right now. Let me check a look. I don't think any of them have anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, in close combat. In close combat, he has a 3 up. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like him a little bit more than
Yeah.
Corswain. I'm gonna have to modify what I said before. I kind of like this dude a
Yes.
little bit more than
He's a
Corswain,
little bit
actually.
more, but he has some stuff that's better. And he does have the extra 2 attacks from his manipulator array at the end if whatever you did before didn't kill the thing. So you can still fight it then. The big thing on Corswain, his Warlord trait is a bit better. Not amazing, but technically a bit better. But actually, I don't mind this Warlord trait. When it's a character that has one inbuilt, to me, it's you have to go at it with a different argument. And his Warlord trait at least means that there is no ties. If we've tied, you will lose because I will take one more wound to make sure that there's a chance that you run or fail. If I can make you run and fail. Or if I'm going to lose and I'm worried about something terrible happening to me, I can now tie us. So it's not amazing. I wouldn't make him my Warlord. But if someone did, say you could only afford 1 HQ, you're playing a little smaller, but you want to have the cool character, it's not awful that you have that Warlord trait. It probably won't do much for you, but it's not the end of the world.
And it does
Yes.
stack with a Vexilla. The other similar ones that just give you a +1
Yeah.
explicitly don't stack. This does.
Okay.
So maybe you'll use it occasionally, like every third or
If you
fourth
can
game.
fit 2 HQs, someone else is your Warlord. If you're only putting 1 HQ, he's good enough that he makes up for the shortcomings of his trait, which not all the characters do. Okay.
Now here's a stupid question, real quick. I don't know how this would work in Legions. He's an Iron Father, right? Is Iron Father an 0-1 choice?
No.
Negative.
So can you have 2 Iron
Yes,
Fathers in the Legion?
that's just the
in your
title.
list?
So they the way they organize their armies are a little different.
It's their equivalent
Iron
of Chapter
Fathers
Master.
essentially are the leaders to their clans. Yeah, it's a title. It's not a unique title.
I just like the fact that you could take like
Yeah.
2 Iron Fathers. Okay. No, I like him. I like him a lot, actually. He almost reminds me of Achille Magos. Yeah, I like him a lot. He's cool.
It worked out well. You didn't do the Gorgon Terminators. You got to talk
And the
about
conversion
this guy.
people.
Okay, so that gets us to the last one. Steve, do you want to talk about this dude? Or do you want me to? Either way is fine. Go for it.
Sure, I'll take him real fast. So we got Shadrak Meduson. He is the guy that kind of organizes the Shattered Legions into a cohesive fighting force, and his rules are going to reflect that a little bit. He takes surviving Salamanders, Iron Hands, and Raven Guards. Like, okay, what can you do really good? Okay, cool. What can you do really good? Okay, cool. So how do you do that together? Basically, he does a better job than Ferrus Manus at taking his forces and applying them in a logical manner.
He really
Man,
does.
you hate Ferrus Manus. He's every.
What does he accomplish besides dying?
The man made his. So the man made the weapon that. Oh no! What cut off his head? Was it the weapon he made, or
It was the layer
demon
blade.
It wasn't his.
It was the
Okay,
layer blade.
okay.
Nope.
I was gonna say he made the weapon that killed him.
So we have Shadrak Meduson. He's 135 points, and he has a standard-looking Praetor stat line. Yeah, that's absolutely standard. He comes with an Architect
It's
pistol.
always fun when you can have one of those because it's rare.
I love Architect pistols.
3-up rending is so nice. Then he has a bolter, an Albion Power Gladius, Artificer armor, an Iron Halo, frag and crack grenades. He's a unique character, Iron Hand. He's a Master Legion, independent character, relentless. He has a custom warlord trait called Stormbringer, and naturally he's locked in Loyalist. So this warlord trait, Shadrak Meduson, and any friendly Iron Hands he joins gain Furious Charge 1. If Furious Charge does not stack. In addition, you get an extra reaction in the opposing player's assault phase, as long as he's not dead. It's okay. I don't think Furious Charge is the biggest thing. I mean, bonus strength is always nice, but I don't think it's going to tip anything that hard. Strength 4 to 5 is nice, but it's not going to make your instant death-causing weapons any more instant death-causing, unless you're fighting Sons of Horus a lot. It's nice.
No, I agree. It's
not really. It's gonna do more than
Autek Mor's. Absolutely.
Than Autek Mor's warlord trait.
Yeah.
But it's not bringing you that much. At least it's the assault phase, so it stacks with your legion.
Like Dave said it before, this legion doesn't really want to charge, right?
I'd also like to apologize to our viewers. He does nothing to make Shattered Legion's army cohesive, rules-wise.
He did do it fluff-wise. So
fluff-wise.
Yeah. No, I agree with like Dave said before. These guys don't really want to charge. I'm not really seeing like the warlord trait benefit
your Medusa squads are the ones that want to charge.
Okay, so Furious Charge.
Sorry, not your Medusa. Your Gorgon squads are the ones that want to charge. That's about it. So,
yeah,
and he's fine there, but there maybe it makes a difference because, a power axe with the extra is nice, so, and he's cheap. He's 135. So he's also cheap for what he does. So in that unit, if you're taking a Gorgon unit and you want this guy, you're not going to feel bad about it. It's a good choice. If you're taking a Terminator style unit, he's good there. But if you're going for more of that shooting style, don't put him in. At least not as a warlord.
The weapon is just a better power sword. It's
and plus 1 strength
5 instead of rending 6.
Yeah,
he's 135 points.
He's
135 The problem is it's breaching and not rending, which means it doesn't auto wound the big boy.
He's 135 points. He's cheap.
He's cheap.
He's
cheap.
He's
not nothing, but it's cheap.
Yeah, it's a cheap independent character. It's a cheap named character who has a Master of the Legion.
Yeah, it's.
If you want to name character, he's okay. He's not bad. He's not good. He's just fine.
I don't have a reason to not field, but I also don't have a reason to not.
Your standard Praetor is 120. Exactly. This guy's 135.
I agree.
His weapon, because the difference in points would be make up for the weapon, really, and and being able to have an Archaeotech pistol, which is something they normally don't have. So he's a little bit more expensive, but once you throw some of the other weapons on, he's about the same cost, and he's got a cool pistol. And they don't say bolter, they say bolt gun for whatever reason.
Oh, so his gun
technically
doesn't have rules. Technically.
Because I did just check in the book to see, is he like the only dude with this? Is it listed somewhere? No, there's no Tyler rule, so he's got bolter, fine.
Hold on, I'll check the Excel sheet that people update.
Yes. We all know.
But I was checking. They sometimes do weird stuff, so I was checking.
Copy editing.
All right. That ends it for these guys who have the least amount of stuff. It took a bit because there's a lot to the armory. They have a lot of armory options. They don't necessarily have Consolaris per se, but they have options in there. And they have a lot of actual gear, which makes the most sense for them. So we will go on to final thoughts. Dan, how about you start?
They're a good legion. But yeah, again, very plain or at least easy to remember Legio trait, but probably one of the strongest plain Legio traits there are. It's not something you'd forget. It's always -1 strength on literally everything unless you have a vehicle, then it changes. But let's say you don't take a vehicle, right? Spartan is what's the
Vehicle wise would be
starter?
the
I think
Spartan,
just a
yes.
Spartan. Um, and then most people would probably branch off into more Terminators or infantry. No one's gonna like buy an armored battalion. Maybe, I don't know. So yeah, that's just a very easy thing to remember, very powerful to remember, and their special units are really good. I'm still surprised the Gorgons are only 200. Like I know you guys were talking about Gorgons, and I kind of just I was molding it around in my head. That's the cheapest special Terminator squad I think we have,
Discounted
right?
a 3
Yeah.
man
Yeah.
Blood Angels.
For a
Yeah.
5-man. Yeah,
Well,
yeah. If
except
you go to
overall, yeah, because they're
5-man,
3 man.
currently they're the cheapest. And I have a feeling they probably stay that way, or maybe someone matches that, but I can't imagine anyone gets cheaper than them.
Yeah, I mean, sure, they got weapon skill 4. Okay, that kind of sucks.
I'll put it
But
this way. Don't think of them as Legion special Terminators. That's what you think of them as a Legion special armor for Terminators.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so I like them a lot. This is a really cool Legion. Um, their units look good. Like I always talk about that because, in my opinion, if you're going to build a Legion and you're going to spend money on it in the hobby, you
Of
want your
course.
shit to look good, right? You know what I mean? Like, it comes down to looks, you know? Their special units look really good. On Forge World right now, their special units are the Gorgons, the Medusans, of course, Ferris. They have some upgrade sprues, but even just like to be stupid, even their like Iron Hands, like Demos Rhino doors. These are the doors that you can upgrade the Rhino doors. They look
The
freaking
big hands.
cool. For those who aren't like, I'll explain a little bit. Yeah, they have the big hand, but they also are recessed and there's just tubing, like metallic tubing all throughout the door. It's just a really cool looking damn door. I find it funny that as you zoom in, you see the flash on the model, which is quite hilarious. Um, no, they
Also
are,
have a fantastic kit
Yes,
for
they do.
yeah,
Mark
they're just,
III Space Marines, where you get a Mark III Armor Marines with all kinds of cool little bionic bits. So they all have bionic arms for both the arms, and then they have some helmets with bionic bits, and one of the sets of legs is has a bionic leg in it. The torsos are all like alt sculpts, so even if you don't play Iron Hands, that's a cool kit to pick up to have bionics to just sprinkle throughout the rest of your army.
yeah, they're just neat. I love the fact, by the way, if you notice that I know it's out of stock, but even their Mark III squad that you can purchase for them, the leader legit has a servo skull on it. Like yeah, it's just cool. They're just awesome. I like these guys a lot. And it's funny because they're not even in my top 3 legions that I wanted to start. You know what I mean? So maybe
Okay.
I'd move these guys to top 5.
We're gonna tier list once
me?
we get through the other half. You know.
You know, I
No,
don't
no,
mean
I
tier list.
understand, but
Sorry, this is
let's
just for
face it, when you
me
do a tier
personal.
thing,
Like,
there's two ways to look
okay.
at it. Part of it's also going to be just like and appeal and what we think. You know, you can like something, maybe it's not the
Yeah.
best option because, I think we might have a discussion of what's necessarily the best and what's the thing we like the most / the coolest. And I think these guys can fit that. Steve, any special
Yeah,
thoughts?
their Gorgons look beautiful. Yeah, no, they're cool.
I mean, I think we covered it. It's one of those legions, very straightforward. Um, their special rules are very easy to understand. It's one of those pick it up and play legions. You don't have to plan extensively hard to get the most out of their rules.
What I will add to that, so like I said, I put them a few times. Um, at 2 different stores actually. So one overall, I do like them. They suffer in one aspect because they're another one of the legions in black. So when you paint them, or just in metal, I've seen a lot of people do more of just metals. Depends on what you look at. Sometimes a little black to it, sometimes a little bit more metal. But scheme wise, one of the easier ones to paint because if you just spray them, say lead belcher, if you want to do some black, you can do some black on that. You can even just wash over with black. Some people just do that. So you can do them very simply and get a really nice looking force pretty fast. Having played them several times, I will say they're a very strong legion, especially out of the box. For what comes out of the box, for what, let's say, you are starting with, if you're someone who's been playing the game for a very long time, you have tons and tons of options. But if you're someone who's new, you essentially have the core box and anything else that came out with, and maybe some Forge World special units. Let's assume you had the ability to get a special unit or something. They're very good starter force because they're very good out of the box, very easy to paint for someone who is new. You can go very fancy with, of course, if you want, but we're talking about if your goal is to get something nicely painted, get it on the table, they'll do that well. Their abilities will be very strong. They don't have tons of special units, so that can make it a little bit easier. You don't have to sit down and figure out which ones you want to run. You have 2 special units. You got 2 characters. If you're playing this army, get a bit of both. Hey, you're good. You can kind of sprinkle them in as you wish. This is a legion where I will say, so far, the ones we've done, there is a potential versus an opponent. If you're trying to play up and your opponent is not, or they're not aware that it could have that potential of a little bit of a negative experience, just from the fact of, I came in with a shooting army. I took lots of guys with bolters because, that sounds fun. Oh, my bolters won't hurt anything you have on minimum of 5s and things like that. So I think this is the first time we've seen a legion where, not that you should be playing this game to, I would say, what we might call that high competitive, win at all costs. You shouldn't necessarily do any game on win at all costs. But at that high competitive, if you're coming in with my list is designed to kind of beat face, and your friend's coming in with a fun list, this is one of the first ones I've seen where you might have a bad day, and it might not be that fun for either side. But, assuming more out of the box stuff, you're going to do well. I think this is a legion that you can apply easily to do well. And then there is the bit after that of learning how to play them correctly to be able to up your game with them. But they're going to play well straight from the start. They're not like Emperor's Children, where you have to figure out how to apply their special rules very particularly, or the same way with Blood Angels. Okay, well, I got to be able to get into combat and have to figure out how I'm going to do this other thing. No, you have just a nice, good basic rule. You have some very nice, good, reasonably cheap units. Yeah, I like them overall. I thought about them, but I again, they don't have the best looking Contemptor, so I couldn't do it. That's all it boils down to for me. All right. I think that does it for us tonight with these guys. And that'll do it for us tonight. The last few weeks, we've been trying to go through 2 legions a week. That just unfortunately didn't happen this week due to some outside influences. We weren't able to record on Monday, which is our other recording day. But what we did do is we started recording the Rites of War for some of the other legions. We don't have a particular order in which we were doing those. We were mostly going from a backwards to the front design, not entirely, but that was the overall idea of what we're doing. So over the next several days, I'm going to be releasing those as well. So if you check our channel, you'll see those. They are being released as individuals in case someone wants to watch one, but not necessarily the others. So there'll be some shorter videos up for you guys as well. We'll be putting those up on the podcast forum as well, so you guys have that there. As always, I do want to thank everyone for listening. Remember, we're available in any podcatcher, whatever one you use. We also put all this out on YouTube. We just ask that if you are enjoying the content to, like, subscribe, reviews, depending on which platform you're on. All that stuff is very, very helpful. We've actually had a lot of growth lately, and that's honestly very encouraging to see. Next week, we are going to be continuing Rites of War. We're going to go through the general ones as well as try to get through a few more of the legions. And then we want to get on to World Eaters. Assuming we can get 2 recordings next week, and that's absolutely the plan, we want to start getting to the back half of these legions. The faster we get through those, the faster we can talk about some other stuff. Well, on behalf of everyone here at the show, have some good hobbying and some great gaming.